Tom Brady, fresh out of retirement, going into Jerry's world against the Cowboys. Another road favorite on a showdown here. This is going to be a good matchup here, man. I don't think the Cowboys have a chance, but we'll see how Tom Brady is feeling. Basically, the man's family hates him if you listen to news reports on him. It seems like Gisele's a little pissed at him. Hopefully, he's got his mind right for this season, and especially the start of the season. Anyways, my name is Tyson Smith. I'm joined by Ellie Hernandez. This is the Edge DFS. We are talking showdown as usual. Buccaneers going into Dallas. Before we get on this game, Ellie, let's talk a little bit about the Thursday night game, first game of the year. The Bills whooped that ass. I expected the Bills to win, but I didn't realize it was, I didn't think it was going to be by that much or that dominant. And they still had 4 turnovers and still absolutely whooped. So how did you do last night on your lineups? Were you focusing on larger field tournaments? What was that like, and how did you end up?
So I did several of the 20 max entries. I ended up breaking even. I had a couple lineups get into the top 100. Is really kind of what we're looking for there, right? Um, and it was kind of just garbage time there in the fourth. It was really sloppy drives, but I mean, I think you were right there as well. But on that last drive, if I would have had a Ben Skowronek touchdown or another reception for 20, 25 yards, then I would have easily been top 5, top 10. So it worked out pretty well. Just got to keep grinding and get it right next game.
All you can hope
How'd you
for
do,
is
man?
I did pretty well. I mean, I profited for sure, but it could have been a lot better. But all you can really hope for is to have that opportunity at the end. Anything else is just luck. Like if you look at my lineup here, this one was in, I think it was in like the 35,000 entry, $1.20 max. And this one did pretty well. We had the Bills defense in there as well. But if you're listening on the podcast, I have the Stephon Diggs at captain, Kupp, Allen, Henderson, Bills defense, and Isaiah McKenzie. And this was 151.28 points. And the winning lineup, I kind of split them up here so you can see them, was at 151.68. So I was off by basically a 5-yard carry from Henderson would have won it for me. But the surprise here was the Bills defense at captain. We joked a few times in our 2 previous shows leading up to the first game about don't forget about this Bills defense. You never know when one of these random defenses is going to end up at captain or just end up in the winning lineup, and they did both. So this is all you can ask for here. Am I upset that I didn't get first place? Of course. But I'm happy that to start the year off, I had the chance. I was even in the ballpark of getting lucky and taking that ship home. So, hey, that's why we do this 3 times a week. We're doing these shows. I'm learning so much doing these shows. I love doing these shows, obviously, to meet you guys and talk to you guys. But even if we get 0 views, I become a better fantasy player, which is all you can ask for at this point. Yeah. Anything to add to this crazy lineup here? This is the one that won the Millie too. I mean, they split it a gazillion ways, but this was the optimal lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I think the optimal that we got from the optimizer to start the show was a 3-3 stack or maybe even 4-2. So it's cool to see weird stacks like this make it. And this is 4-2 with the Bills captain at defense. So it's kind of crazy. I don't know if I would have gotten to any Bills captain.
No, I wouldn't have either.
I actually didn't. I can say that for certain.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting lineup, and the problem with that lineup is though, if the Rams do score a touchdown there, like the swing in points is just absolutely crazy, especially with them at captain.
Yeah, especially if Stafford throws a touchdown. I don't know where I end up. I have no clue. Yeah. All right, let's get into this game, guys.
All right, while you're pulling up the first look, guys, we want to get to 50 likes, so go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, and let's keep grinding this out all season, guys.
Yeah, we'll be here 3 times a week for you guys. And let's just get into this. Buffalo going... Oh, that's the wrong thing. All right, I didn't update that. Well, basically what we're seeing here, let me pull it up. So Cowboys are, let's see. Yeah, it's 2.5-point spread. Tampa Bay's favored. It's a 50.5 total. And the ownership is skewed towards the Buccaneers by I don't know, 30 or 40%. So a decent amount. So Ellie, what are we thinking here, man? There's a lot of injuries we're going to talk about. But what are your just general thoughts about this game and how are you going to handle it?
I think this is a little bit different than the Bills Rams game. I know that the Cowboys are kind of a question mark as far as how they're gonna play this season, if they're gonna be healthy. But I think the Buccaneers have just as many question marks, especially this early on in the season. Tom Brady hasn't been at camp. Yeah, I mean they're getting a new head coach in Todd Bowles, and we know a lot about Todd Bowles, right? He's an
Yeah.
excellent defensive coordinator. He's excellent at stopping the run. But like, I think that there's going to be a bit of a transition period here for the Bucks defense. So I think with everything favoring them, it might be interesting to kind of lean a little bit towards the Cowboys. And I don't usually say that because I hate them so much, but I think the Cowboys have a chance to pull this game off, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
with all the unknowns surrounding Tom Brady, the new head coach coming back from
Yeah.
retirement, losing players, and lots of players that are injured. So let's get into the injuries here. Not sure if you guys can see this. If you're watching on a TV, I'm sure you can. But we're showing you Russell Gage is questionable. Chris Godwin is questionable. Gage was limited practice throughout the week. Chris Godwin was full participation Wednesday, DMP Thursday, and full participation today. Now he's coming off of that. I think it's ACL, MCL injury, a pretty bad injury. I think he had surgery in January. So we're coming up on a decent amount of time here, but still, it's a major injury, and I do personally think that he will be active for this game. But that doesn't mean I'm excited to see him play or to play him. I don't know how well he's going to react, and I don't even know how much confidence he has in his own body at this point, coming off a major injury. This will be the first live contact real game since the injury. So, what are your thoughts on these two injuries here? We'll get into the Cowboys obviously on the other side, but Gage and Godwin, it's kind of a big deal. A lot of things are going to, once we get the inactives, that's when we really should start building. I'm not going to start building anything until I know which one of these guys is out, or if they're both playing. It does change some things too. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so just off the top, I have a pretty good feeling that Chris Godwin's gonna end up playing. Russell Gage, I think, is more on the bubble just because if they have Julio, Godwin, and Mike Evans, I think the periphery receivers are gonna be a little limited. But it's the most important news of the game, right? Without that information, it's gonna be really difficult to build. And the pricing gets really crazy if they aren't playing because you got pretty good value in a lot of spots, and then and if they do get active, if both guys are active, then you have some mispriced guys too. So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting, man. Like we need to know what's happening with both those guys for us to be able to build.
So Michael Gallup is obviously going to be out for a minute. I'm not exactly sure yet how long he's going to be out, but he is out. You had the injury from Tyron Smith, I believe, the left tackle for the Cowboys.
Yep.
That's a huge deal. I do believe they signed a veteran to come in and fill that gap, but on a couple weeks practice, how much, how good is he going to do? Nobody knows. It does kind of scare me with this defense, and we know Todd Bowles is a blitz machine. It does kind of scare me if I'm thinking of going heavy with the Cowboys, getting some sacks, getting some pressures, getting some interceptions, that does worry me a little bit. Any other injury news that you see or is worth talking about?
Yeah, just keep an eye on Dak Prescott. I'm pretty sure he's going to be fine, but he did have the weird ankle thing pop up earlier this week. So, I don't know. Remember, most of these guys did not play any preseason with it being shortened. So, I think there's a real world in which both teams are limiting some of their overall touches to their big guys.
All right, let's get into this breakdown. All right, guys. So like I said, throw us a like. Trying to get to 50 likes. Help us out. Hit that button. We appreciate it. Tom Brady, 10K, cheaper than Dak Prescott at 10.2K. So the question here is, we ask it pretty much every slate, is are we going to be able to fit both these quarterbacks in? I personally think we will. in a slate like this. There's just not there are talented players out there, but there's not players that I'm absolutely like 100% I have to play in every lineup. And both of these quarterbacks are really good.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. I think Tom Brady is a little bit iffy just because he's coming back for his 48th year. And again, he wasn't there for all of training camp, but he's also Tom Brady. He could just be good to go and throw for 350 and 4 touchdowns to somebody we've never heard of. So
Yeah.
play Tom Brady and play Dak Prescott. Dak's gonna have some rushing upside here, I think. It's going to be difficult for Zeke and Pollard to get going against the stout run defensive Bulls.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to mix it up by getting some RPOs in there. So I think Dak has a little bit of rushing upside here on
Yeah.
Sunday night.
Are you considering any of these guys at captain?
No, but I will have a heavy amount of exposure in the flex.
Now, obviously, these guys will be the most popular captains, most likely. They're the quarterbacks. If you're playing on FanDuel, obviously that's a great option because there's no penalty for 1.5 time price. But me personally, unless I have other guys that I'm highly interested in with high upside. Since we're dealing with PPR here, I think some of these receivers will probably come in as better options. Let's go to running back here. Which team do you want to start with, Ellie?
Yeah, let's start with Tampa.
All right.
I think this is a bit of a tricky situation.
This is a very tricky
Uh,
situation. Let me read off these salaries and then you can get into it. So Leonard Fournette is at 8,600, Rashad White 2,400, Giovanni Bernard 2,800, and Keyshawn Vaughn 600. Go ahead, man.
yeah, so I'm gonna keep this real simple. I know we all love Lenny. He had a pretty nice resurgence last year. But I'm not sold on his overall just ability to be the workhorse back anymore. Um, I I know he's only 27, 28 or whatever, but this is what 2022. I don't think we've had a running back be a franchise guy for more than 2 or 3 years, and this is the second time around. So I just don't know if he's there.
Yeah. And here,
And
let me read this tweet here since you're talking about Fournette. So this guy Greg Alman, I think that's how you say his name, tweeted Fournette's usage will be interesting to track. He only hit 80% of his offensive snaps once in the first 10 games, then basically did in 3 straight games before the hamstring injury. I think they'd much prefer him at 60 to 70% range, utilizing the depth to help. Now, how much, I don't know if that's true or not. I have no clue. It's an interesting tweet. I tend to think that maybe they will want to give him a little bit, give him some downs off, like give him a drive or two off. We remember how it was last year with him and Rojo. Randomly one guy would get 2 drives in a row. It was almost a hot hand. Now in this case, Leonard Fournette is clearly the guy. And at 8,600, he's also a third down back potentially. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. 8,600, I'm not
yep.
saying that if he gets 60 to 70% snaps, that's going to hurt him so bad I don't want to play him. The bigger point here is talking about a guy like Rashad White getting some more opportunities at that number 2 spot, right?
Yeah, I like Rashad White at 2,400. They've been really high on him at Tampa training camp. He's been making some incredible catches out of the backfield as well. So at 2,400, I think he's an excellent play. Um, he's going to be the number 2 over Giovanni Bernard, in my opinion. And to your tweet, right? Like if Burnett ends up at 70% of the snaps, that's pretty good remainder left to some of these cheaper guys. And where he's priced, I just think that there's better value. And throwing in Rashad White to catch a couple passes out of the backfield, I think is a real viable option. Now, just to kind of cover what we saw with James Cook the other night, this is very much a team that if they fumble, they will not see the field again. So keep that in mind when you're looking at any of these running backs. And when it comes to holding the ball down, I think the most consistent might actually be Giovanni Bernard from this group. So just pay attention to that. Keep in mind that that's something to be aware of. Now, another interesting play here is Keyshawn Vaughn. We need to understand who the inactives are, but if Chris Godwin and Russell Gage are both out, that kind of limits the depth that they have at the wide receiver position. And he's a guy that they can run out there and maybe 2 running back sets. You can have Rashad White and Keyshawn Vaughn on the field, and he
Mm-hmm.
can come out of the backfield as an additional pass catcher. So for $600, if he's active, I have some interest in him.
Yeah,
I mean, him getting a 0 again isn't as bad as Rashad White getting a 0. So
exactly.
that's really kind of where I'm at with these guys. I think I'll put White first. I don't know if I'm gonna have much of Lenny.
Yeah, and Rashad White is going to be one of my favorite value options on this slate. All right, let's get over to Dallas here. This is, hey, Zeke Elliott is at 7,800. This is the price range. I think we saw him get into the sixes last year for Showdown. This is the sort of range that they try to tempt you to play him. Draftkings does 7,800. I still think it's slightly high, considering I don't know about this offensive line. Zeke is starting to look a little bit older. We've known about him in the past few seasons and has not done well lately, but every once in a while he'll bust out a good game. He still has the talent. Tony Pollard at 6,400. A lot of people are going to want to play him. They might be pretty much because of that price difference. They might be the same ownership. So what do we do here, man? Can we do double lineups with them considering they're short on wide receiver right now?
I mean, you can. I don't necessarily recommend something like that. Todd Bowles has such a history of being excellent at stopping the run that I would just be hesitant to put two running backs from an opponent against him. Um, and even with that said, like I moderately like Tony Pollard. I don't like Zeke Elliott in this matchup. I'm probably gonna end up fading the Cowboys backfield altogether. It's not really a great situation. At 6,400, I mean, if Julio Jones goes out and has, 6 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown at 5K, Tony Pollard's gonna have to have 120 and 2 touchdowns, right? So it's really not the greatest spot for me, and I don't even know who the hell Rico Dowdle is.
Yeah. If this was a better matchup, I'd be more interested.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I just don't know. So I'm going to be kind of with the field. And we're talking between 20 to 25% ownership and probably pretty low ownership in the captain. So if you choose to fade a guy like Zeke in the flex, throw him in a couple captain lineups just in case if he goes absolutely ham. All right. Let's go to wide receiver. CeeDee Lamb at 10.4K, Noah Brown 300 or 3,000, Jalen Tolbert 5,800, Simi Fehoko 200, and whoever this Turpin guy is at 1,800. All right, talk to me, Ellie. What do we do here?
I'm gonna get as much CD Lamb as I possibly can, regardless of what's going on. All these backups really just point to CD Lamb kind of being the guy, right? He could easily see 15 to 20 targets. If he's healthy, I know he's had a Q tag pretty much all of his NFL career. So if he's good to go for Sunday night, I love him. I think you get as much as you can. He's I mean, he's just too explosive of a playmaker. And I really expect to see Dak kind of air it out a little bit here. They don't have anybody else. They don't have Amari Cooper back there. So he's the big play guy. After that, I think it gets really kind of muddy here. I think Noah Brown at 3K is pretty decent play. But I'm not comfortable paying 5,800 for Jalen Tolbert, right? I'd
Yeah,
rather pay down and go to the other side of the ball with Julio Jones.
yeah.
Um,
And
and then
Tolbert,
those other
let's talk about Tolbert here real quick. So I saw a tweet from Salvetri on it's on Twitter here, obviously. Jalen Tolbert is his under 41.5 receiving yards. The third round rookie struggled mightily to separate in the preseason, and now he faces Tampa's top 10 secondary. So, I mean, I've read similar things like this as far as Tolbert. I might just kind of go easy on him on this game because we just don't know. I mean, he could be incredible. He could go off, but a guy like Noah Brown who's been in the system for a year now, and at his price tag at 3,000. If Tolbert was in that range, I would play with him as well. But Noah Brown at 3K, he's another one of my value plays that I'm gonna try to prioritize on this slate. Do you like Noah Brown less than me?
I don't know. I think we're pretty much on the same level with him. I think I need to kind of clarify where I'm at with these guys, right? Like if I'm running a Dak Prescott four stack, right? I'm probably gonna have Dak, CD, and then one of these other guys. So I may have a little bit of Tolbert just to kind of add in that second pass catcher, that second wide receiver. But I mean Noah Brown at 3K, it's a good spot for him. And He's probably going to be playing slot receiver here, filling hopefully a bit of an explosive role. So there's good opportunity that he'll get some quality targets up the field. Um, but yeah, Jalen Tolbert, I mean, if he's going to be running on the outside, like I just don't feel like it's a great matchup for him. I don't think the routes are going to be conducive to his success. And I don't know, he's a rookie. You're just throwing him out there against a pretty elite defense. So
Fehoko at $200, I would toy with a couple lineups just because of the depth
yep.
issues. You just never know. I mean, maybe this guy was gelling in camp with Dak, and we just don't know it. So, $200, like you said, if you get a zero, if you only get a couple catches out of him, that might be enough to at least min cash. And you have the high upside of him going off, and you absolutely dominating with a guy that's around 5% ownership. All right, let's go to Tampa Bay wide receivers. This is where things are going to get kind of interesting here. So we need to talk about things. We won't know until the day of or the night of, an hour and a half before kickoff. Maybe we'll get some news throughout the day, but we won't really know about these guys. So we have to kind of plan ahead. So when we're talking about this in a pre-recorded show, we're going to give you guys a couple of scenarios. But let me talk about pricing. I'll let Ellie take over. 10.6K for Mike Evans. Russell Gage at 6,200, questionable. Chris Godwin, 7,400, questionable. You got Julio Jones wearing number 6 now, 5K. Rashad Perriman at 1K. Jalen Darden at 200. Jalen Darden no longer is the kick returner. Scotty Miller at 1,400. So look, what do we do here? Let's just say that Gage and Godwin are out. How do we handle that? You're going to go crazy on Julio Jones, and are you touching any of these lower end guys?
Yeah, I'm gonna go crazy on Julio Jones, and if Godwin's out, I'm really gonna get as much exposure to Mike Evans as I possibly can too. Mike Evans was balling out last year. He had a great season, and we know who he is. Dude's easily 122 touchdowns. That's not a problem for him. He can
Yeah.
pull that off.
Yeah.
If both these guys are out, I think you're Tom Brady, Mike Evans, and Julio Jones. I think you can afford that stack. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily sure you got to get too deep into the weeds here, but I will. I mean, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time, man. If he's coming out and he's ready to play, Rashad Perriman at $1,000 is 100% viable to me. Scotty Miller, he's fast as hell. I mean, he's what Danny Amendola's like second cousin or like grandson. I mean, like Scotty Miller is the epitome of what Tom Brady wants from a slot receiver. So like
White guys.
I don't know, man.
White guys. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Right. Wes Welker, Danny Amendola. I know there's another one in there I'm forgetting. But no, like I think all these guys are in play. I mean, I think one thing that we needed to take into account on Thursday night, right, is don't underestimate having the impact a great quarterback can have on the periphery pass catchers, right? Like Isaiah McKenzie probably wouldn't be on another NFL team, but because he has that chemistry with Josh Allen, he gets opportunities for red zone targets, being 5'7", 112 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you really need to open up your Rolodex. Is that a thing that people know what it is?
Probably not.
You need to open up your playbook then and really go ahead and play some of these guys. Now, don't put Perriman and Miller in the same lineup. That's dumb as hell. But don't. I think you're fine. Grab Mike Evans and one of these guys, Julio Jones and one of these guys. Now, I think we need to get to the obvious scenario. If Chris Godwin does play, I think you can kind of eliminate a lot of those guys, and that's with Russell Gage out. If Mike Evans, Godwin, and Jones are the three primary, they're going to be the three primary. There's no reason to target anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just the last thing, and get your thoughts. But Russell Gage, if he's active, man, like I'm not sold. 6,200 is, I mean, shit, dude. Why would I play him? Julio Jones is 5K. Julio Jones has never had a guy like Tom Brady. Like I know Matt Ryan was one of the most accurate quarterbacks, but Tom Brady's Tom Brady. Julio Jones at 5K could easily blow this slate up.
Yeah, and he had a good camp too, so that's kind of big. Look, me personally, I don't care who's active or who's not active. I'm going heavy on Mike Evans. He will be my highest owned player on the slate by far, both at captain in the flex. I might have 80% of him total. Because look, he's the kind of guy. I don't know if this is going to make sense, but he's like the opposite of touchdown dependent because he scores a touchdown. Like you're going to get one touchdown and probably 5 catches out of him on a bad game. That like he's going to get you 11, 12 fantasy points. So at that and in that case, I'm really excited to jam him into a lot of places. And if Gage and Godwin or one or the other is out, well, that makes me even more excited. Now, if Godwin plays, I'm not super excited about Chris Godwin. Like I said in the opening, I don't know how good he's going to be coming off of that injury. I just don't. So at 7,400, it's tempting. What I'll do is I'll get a couple captain lineups with him in there and game scripts that reflect him going off. But I'll probably be just right around the field with him if he is active. And Russell Gage, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to treat that yet. I don't even want to think about it until I get the inactives. But I'm not convinced. I tend to agree with you on that one.
What is his injury again? I'm forgot what the specific was.
Russell Gage. Hang on one second. Yeah, you're going to see some proprietary information here. 1 second. He has a hamstring injury, which is not good for a wide receiver.
Yeah,
especially
man,
a guy who's fast.
And they signed Julio Jones before that injury, I'm pretty sure. Like, that's not a good sign to me. I mean, granted, he's Julio Jones. I understand that piece, but to replace a third string receiver, that's kind of iffy in my opinion. So
If I was
I don't know
if I was a bet man, I'd say Russell Gage does not play. And I am a bet man, so I am saying Russell Gage probably won't play. All right, let's go to tight ends here. This is a situation. You got Kyle Rudolph signing at first game here with a new team and Tom Brady at 2,600. We know his possibilities in the red zone. He is 100% touchdown dependent. He's not going to get a lot of volume. And same with Cameron Brate. I mean, Cameron Brate's at 5,200. This guy, OJ Howard's gone, and obviously no Gronk. So who picks up that slack? I don't think anybody picks up the slack, to be honest. But can a guy like Kyle Rudolph score a touchdown in this game? And even if he scores a touchdown and gets you 10, 15 yards, at 2,600, is that going to be enough?
At 2,600, it might be. I mean, it really depends on how some of the other value around that area does. But I think the safe play here is just kind of go even with the field on both Rudolph, or even with Rudolph and maybe under on Braid 5,200. Again, I'd rather just play Julio Jones. So Julio Jones, not to crush on one of my Bama guys, but this dude is a tight end who runs like a 4.40, so he can absolutely play that role. And I don't know, man. I like Kevin Rudolph, or Kyle Rudolph.
I knew you were going to drop the Kevin Rudolph.
But at 2,600, man, I don't hit him. Tom Brady likes his tight end, so it could be an opportunity to build some early chemistry.
All right, let's go to Dallas here. So I'm actually kind of excited about Dalton Schultz. He's at 6,800. Now, forgive me. I think Blake Jarwin is just not even on the team anymore. Am I correct about that? I've lost track of him. He's been injured so much, I have no clue. But he's not on the slate that I see, so I'm going to assume he's not on the team. Dalton Schultz at 6,800, and you got a bunch of scrubs at 200. Now, Dalton Schultz, last year, to end the season, he had a hot year to end the year. 4 out of 5 games over 15 fantasy points. He did pretty well, and maybe he was sort of catching on. And with the limited wide receivers that this team has to start the year, they might rely on Dalton Schultz a lot more than they typically would. You're seeing a guy that had 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 touchdowns last year. That's pretty good. Yeah. So for me, Dalton Schultz at 6,800 is a great captain option, and I'm going to try to sprinkle him into the flex quite a bit. There wasn't a whole lot of tight end action on Thursday Night Football, but I think it can be different tonight. I'm going to bet that one of these guys on either side of the ball is going to score a touchdown. I think it's going to happen. I think Dalton Schultz can be that guy. He can be the guy who gets you 2 touchdowns and breaks the slate. He's going to be around 25 to 30% owned, probably in the captain. He's probably going to be around 5%. So I'm really interested in him simply because he had a hot end of the year. And their wide receiver core is just not very deep. So thoughts on Dallas here?
Yeah, actually, I'm just gonna call back to the Bills game. What did we see from Matt Stafford? I mean, he pretty much sucked outside of throwing to Cooper Cup, and then in garbage time, he was getting Gerald Everett or not Gerald Everett, Tyler Higbee involved, right? So I think it's a very similar situation here when you have that new depth piece, or you have injuries, you have new guys you're trying to throw in on the wide receiver core. You're going to consolidate your targets into the guys that you have a little bit of history with, Dalton Schultz and CD Lamb. So I'm with you, man. I think he's a great play. And one of the things that I missed earlier in last season was just they had two tight ends, right? They had Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin, and both were going to split time at very cheap price, right? They're still going to get 40 snaps. So the same thing's not going to happen here. Jake Ferguson and Clancy Pendergast aren't going to get any time on the field, right? So so Dalton Schultz could see 95% of the snaps, and in a game where they're going to probably have to throw the ball 45 times, he could easily see 10, 12, 15 targets.
Yeah, Dak is going to throw the ball a lot in this game. So kickers and defense here. We'll briefly just talk about this. Ryan Suckoff is 4K and Brett Maher 3,800. I mean, look, both of these kickers will probably come in around 20% owned, and there's not a lot of people playing double kicker lineups. So you got to think that 35 to 40% of all lineups will have at least one kicker. And yeah, that could be good. We're playing in a dome. These kickers aren't bad, but I'm going to probably be under the field on kickers like I usually am, because this is a 50.5 total. And I just don't, you guys have heard this before. I'm not a huge kicker fan. I think they should eliminate the kicker from Showdown. Maybe we should start a petition or something like that. But thoughts to add on that?
My thoughts are this simple. You can pay down from Maher and get to somebody around 2,600, and then you can come off of Suck Up and go straight up to Julio Jones. So I
Yeah.
just think there's much higher upside plays.
Yeah, you're right, dude. Julio Jones is only $1,000 more than Suckoff. So defense,
Yeah.
Buccaneers 4,200, Cowboys 3,400. Now look, the Cowboys can cause some turnovers with Brady's abilities and mental state sort of in question right now. We could absolutely see, if I would not be surprised if we see a terrible game by Brady and the Cowboys get a pick six and a handful of sacks. That would not surprise me. But I don't know how much I want to touch these defenses in a higher total game like this. I don't think this is going to be a low scoring game, but who knows, man? Both of these teams can cause some turnovers. So any interest in defenses, we got to just talk about it. We have to think about mixing in defenses, even though it might not be the sexiest thing to do.
Yeah, I mean the Cowboys have some playmakers. Trevon Diggs, I mean his thing is pick sixes. Now he'll have a touchdown on the other end, but it take the sacrifice, get the 6 points. It's nice. 3,400, I don't mind it. Again, I think that there's some better options as far as upside. And then the Bucks defense at 4,200. Again, both of these defense have the ability to score touchdowns. So if you think that your game script supports that, then go ahead and play them. Probably don't play them both.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's get into our Crown Their Ass segment, our favorite tournament captain option on DraftKings.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Ellie, you're going with Evans. I tend to agree with you. I'm going to have the most Evans possible. But a guy like Schultz, to me, at a lower captain ownership, is very interesting. And a tight end on Showdown, a guy that has some a couple years with Dak at this point. And now I could be wrong. Please, somebody in the comments correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's on the franchise tag. They didn't get a deal done with him. So he's motivated to come out and play. He's playing for a big contract at this point, and we all know that does matter. And if you look at ownership here, I'm not going to obviously give away the ownership, but there's a big drop-off after Leonard Fournette. You're talking about around 12% ownership at the captain, and then it cuts in half going down to Dalton Schultz. So you get half the ownership that some of these guys have with, in my opinion, Dalton Schultz has just a high of an upside in a game like this than Lenny does. That's a little bit of a bold take, but anyways, I'm done convincing you to play Schultz. And you don't really need to convince a lot of people to play Mike Evans in a game like this, right?
I hope not. If I do, then you guys just send me a head-to-head request, and we'll fix it that way.
All right, so I'm gonna fade Tolbert. Not have 0% of him. Just I'm not too excited about him. I want to wait a week to see kind of what he's like and how they treat him. Ellie, you're not too excited about Zeke.
Yeah, and I kind of wimped out here, but I initially was gonna fade Zeke and Pollard, but that would be a bit disingenuous because if I do have some exposure to the backfield, it's probably gonna be heavier Pollard. There's a real likelihood that we're gonna see a 50-50 timeshare from these backs, and it's just Zeke's not priced where he should be if that's the case, and they're playing one of the best run defenses in the NFL. So that's all I got.
All right, let's get into lineups here. Give us a like real quick, guys. We're trying to hit to 50 likes. And go ahead and subscribe while you're at it. Hit that bell notification. We appreciate that. Let's just do an opto and see what pops up. Tom Brady at captain, Noah Brown in the flex, Schultz, Pollard, Fournette, Prescott.
I do not like that.
Let me save this just so we have it, just so we know what we're starting with here. So where do you want to start, dude? Do you want to do some of these chalky captain lineups, like a Dak Prescott captain, or where do you want to
go? Yeah, let's actually do a Dak Prescott captain because here's one thing that we can do, and I think we need to emphasize is when you're using a chalky captain, do something dumb, like run Dak Prescott and then 5 back with Tampa. So you want to try that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's throw in TB.
Okay.
Let's get Mike and Julio.
Okay, 4,500 a pop for last 2 spots.
Jesus, dude, Julio is too cheap. Okay, let's put in who's you want Kevin Rudolph or one of the running backs? What about James?
Yeah, let's
or Rashad White.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rashad White. And 60, that leaves us with 6,700. That gets us in the Tony Pollard. We don't want that. Let's see. Russell Gage, 6,200. And then you got to go all the way down to Brait if you're doing a 1-5. So, if Gage is playing, I don't really like that. But, there's that, or there's a Cameron Brait. Now, you're leaving $1,500 on the table here. And obviously, this is a crazy lineup. You're not gonna get duped with a lineup like this.
Right.
But maybe we're getting, I don't know, maybe we're getting a little too crazy. Let's do a 2-4, right?
Yeah.
Now I wish we could get to Dalton Schultz. We're $100 away from Dalton Schultz, so maybe let's pull one of these guys out. Maybe even White.
Yeah, let's. That's what I was gonna say. Let's pull out White. Let's put in Schultz because I saw that too. I was like, damn, dude, $100 short.
Yeah, so 2,300. That's we still got some options here, but nothing I really like. Like, I want to get it. I would rather get a guy like Noah Brown in. Can we go with Noah Brown instead of Schultz?
Yeah, let's do that.
You know what I mean? Let's see if that gets us anything. So Noah Brown at 3K, 6,100. That's Tolbert, and that's kind of it. That's you can go with Brait here. So 2-4.
What if we swap Tom and Dak, and then go back to take Noah Brown out and put in Schultz, and then we should be able to get Rashad White.
Yep. I think we can. Yep, we can. That's perfect.
I really like this lineup. I mean, this is probably going to be moderately chalky, but this is a decent lineup.
I mean, it's not bad. I like that. I'm going to save that one. So for a Tom Brady lineup, I really like this. Now let's get into some of our favorite builds here. Let's go with Mike Evans here because I'm going to have a lot of lineups with Mike Evans. I'll tell you that much. So Mike Evans, captain. What do we want to do? I feel like we got to get Dak and Brady. That's just the core. I really do think that those guys need to be in almost every lineup. Now, if I had to fade one guy, it would be Brady. Do you agree with that?
That's reasonable. Then let's build with because with Mike Evans a captain, you're gonna have to make a choice. You're either gonna play both quarterbacks or you're gonna have one quarterback in CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
So let's fade Tom in this first build. Let's go Dak, CeeDee.
Okay.
And then since we're fading the quarterback, I still think we go back to the running game on the other side. So Rashad White,
Okay.
he's just priced too nicely. Then Noah Brown with Dalton Schultz, I think we might be able to get there too.
Yeah. Oh, we can absolutely get there. We can actually get Zeke if we wanted to here. You could get Godwin, but Schultz, that's pretty nice. A 2-4.
And if you're uncomfortable with that, you want to, you can still play both kickers. You can get up to Tampa Bay defense if you want instead of Noah Brown. Like there's
Yeah.
all
So
kinds of wiggle room here.
Evans, Prescott, Lamb, Rashad White, Noah Brown, Dalton Schultz. Let's do this because I know we're gonna keep building without playoff Lenny. Let's put him in this lineup and see what kind of value we can pull out of those last two spots. We don't have Brady in this. I'm not scared to play another wide receiver or a tight end or something. Maybe we go with a guy like Kevin Rudolph. That gets you. It doesn't really do much for you. It gets you. You could go with a guy like Fehoko or something here. I don't like that. Do you have any other ideas for this?
Scroll. How much do we have?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. 4,900 for two spots.
4,900 for two spots.
And this is Evans at captain, Prescott, Lamb, and Fournette.
Throw in Keshawn Vaughn.
Okay. $600. 4,300.
Bucks defense, suck up, Maher. I mean, Bucks defense wouldn't be terrible in this lineup.
Yeah, kickers. Hey, another thing I want to bring up real quick. I want to show you guys, if you're using an optimizer, you really got to go into, it doesn't matter which optimizer you're using. You really got to go into the setting right there, offensive players versus defense. Because I would have never hit that lineup I did and almost win it without changing this here. It's usually always set to 0. Make sure you're changing that to whatever you're comfortable with. In a showdown, I don't know, 2 or 3 players, it doesn't really matter to me, but I think that's something worth noting before you get into building. All right. So you can go with the kickers. You can do a lot of stuff with this. Let's do something different here, man. Let's stay with Evans. Let's completely change things here. Let's go a heavy Buccaneers air raid here.
Let's go Tom Julio. I still like Kevin Rudolph.
Yeah. That leaves us a ton of money. So we probably want to go
actually. No. We'll do this next. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, buddy.
No. I was gonna say we probably want to go Dak and then fill in from there 6,300, and just sort of rotate out guys like Russell Gage if he plays, Jalen Tolbert, Cameron Brate. Go down to the kicker. Maybe you go with Maher here with a lineup like this and leave some money on the table. What were you gonna say?
Take out Rudolph and put in Brashad Perriman.
Okay. Where the hell is he at? He's not even on this. There we go. They have him as zero projected points, but I put him in. 7,900 left. Zeke. I actually think Zeke might be a decent option here with the lineup
Yeah, for
like
something
this.
like this, you're capturing all the offense by having Dak and Zeke.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so do you want to move on to like a guy like CeeDee Lamb real quick?
Yeah, let's do CeeDee Lamb, and then I'm curious to see some. I think we do Dalton Schultz, and then we got to try one Julio lineup. I mean,
see if it's worth it.
Bro, 5K that's
it's pretty cheap with his upside. All right, so Dak, CD's expensive enough that we might have to choose one quarterback or the other. Do you want to put in 2 and see how hard it is?
Yeah, let's do 2 and see how hard it is.
Okay. So you're probably going to have to fade a guy like Evans in this lineup, most likely. So if we fade a guy like Evans, assuming that Godwin is available, or we could play Godwin, or we can just go down to Julio Jones, which I'm assuming that's probably what you want to do, right?
Yeah, I for sure want to go to Julio.
All right, what's next? We got 4,600 per.
Let's throw in Kyle Rudolph.
Okay.
And I think that just puts us down to what, White?
6,600.
66.
So Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard. I actually not opposed to that lineup.
I don't hate
Tony
that.
Pollard is going to be used in the passing game, man. He's going to be used for screens and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Oh yeah.
That matters.
Oh yeah. We've seen Tony Pollard absolutely. He scored like a 60 or 70-yard touchdown on a screen last year on a play. So we could. Can we move up?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Real quick. You want to let's take Rudolph out and go down to Scotty Miller.
Okay.
Shelby Miller.
Okay. And
all right.
7,800. Zeke. So you can pull Zeke out. I don't hate either of these. These are both good lineups for sure. Let's just try one with Godwin here. See how bad that hurts us. We try one with Godwin instead of Julio. 6,800. So I want to go with a guy like Noah Brown right here, and that gets you Brett Maher. Not my favorite lineup, fine. But I wish I could go to suck off. But we're $200 off on that. There's just a lot of options in this game.
All right, real quick, one more before we move on from CD. Can you pull out Tom?
Yep, pulling out Tom.
Okay. All right, let's put in Lenny and White.
I love it. You want to pull out Godwin and Brown too, right?
Yeah, my bad.
Lenny, Rashad White, 6,600 per. We got plenty of options here. Mike Evans?
Sure. Yeah, let's
just
Mike
see.
Evans.
Let's just see. 2,600. We still got options. Kyle Rudolph and Scotty Miller and Keyshawn Vaughn. That's pretty much it.
Okay, go from Evans, then go to Julio. Let's see what.
I'm guessing you're gonna have a lot of Julio Jones in this matchup.
Bro, I don't know how you call
8,200. That gets you Zeke. That gets you Chris Godwin. So I actually do like this lineup: Prescott and Zeke, and obviously CeeDee Lamb at captain. So let me read this off for the podcast listeners. You got CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Fournette, Rashad White, Julio Jones, and Ezekiel Elliott, and you got about $400 left. I like it, but let's move over to Dalton. We got to do Dalton Schultz too. So we'll hold off on that for the last. Let's do Julio Jones just to see. All right, he's at 7.5K at captain. So
CD, Mike, Tom, and
let's just try it all
possible
here. Dude, it actually kind of is. If you really punt at this last position, you can go Scotty Miller here.
I think he's 1,400.
It's like DraftKings knows. What can we get here? Keyshawn? Yeah, we can get Keyshawn.
I'm not. Bro, I'm not opposed to that. Keyshawn Vaughn. Like this isn't a terrible punt. I mean, if he gets 0 and you have literally all of the highest scoring dudes on the slate.
Yeah.
Now, granted, this would be pretty chalky.
So let's try this. Instead of CeeDee Lamb, let's go like to Noah Brown or something. I know that's crazy. Schultz. But Noah Brown and Dalton Schultz. Can we do it? 6,700. Oh, dude, come on. Oh yeah, no, 8,700. I'm dyslexic.
8,700.
Yeah, we're good. 1,900. So we could actually can we move off of Noah Brown and move up a little bit? Are there any options around that $4,900 range?
Bro, throw in the Buccaneers defense. You got Ryan Suckoff, Brett Maher.
Could do Buccaneers defense. Yep. So what do we got here? Yeah, that's not bad. I actually want to go with Noah Brown with this lineup. Yeah. So Julio Jones, Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Noah Brown, Dalton Schultz. I'm clicking the save button. All right.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I got to do this real quick.
Okay.
Come off Dalton Schultz.
Okay.
Throw in Lenny.
Oh, yeah. Duh. That's almost perfect.
What is that? An onslaught type build.
Yeah, that's a 4-2. Yeah, definitely onslaught type build, especially with your only receiver being Noah Brown. But if Dak Prescott spreads the ball around quite a bit, it could work out. I would like to have put a running back here. Here, let's do that. Let me come off of Noah Brown and Mike
And
Evans.
Or come off Lenny and leave Mike Evans in, throw in Pollard.
Yep.
Instead of Lenny.
Okay. Pollard, 5,300. That gets us Cameron Brate and Buccaneers defense, something like that. So Julio Jones is really nice to build with. Can he actually catch a football in this game? I don't know, but we know he has the talent. With the change of scenery, let's hope he can actually be effective. Last one here, guys. We're going to go with Dalton Schultz at tight end. Do we want to do both quarterbacks just to start?
Yeah.
And then I'm going Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Well, I think in a situation like this, what we should do is rotate out Mike Evans or CeeDee Lamb with the same last two. So, or similar because they're about the same price. So we got 4,500 left. What do you think?
Let's throw in Godwin. See what we have left.
Okay, 1,600. Does that get us Scotty?
Yeah, it
does. Another onslaught. This is a 2-4. This will not be a popular lineup. I can promise you that.
All right, now I'm sure this isn't going to shock you, but let's come off of Godwin and go to Julio.
Hey, let's do it. Let's do it. Where's he at? There he is. So let's come off of Scotty. 4K. That gets us both kickers if we want. That gets us Cowboys defense. So in a situation like this, I'd go Maher. Hope he hits like 250 yarders or something. You got Schultz at captain, Dak Prescott, Brady, Evans, Julio, and Maher. That's pretty nice. Let's do this. Let me see what the Opto jams in with Schultz at captain. Let's see. Fehoko, Fournette, Lamb, Prescott, Brady. So that same lineup we just did would have worked with Lamb instead of Evans as well. So you can always do that.
Okay, so let's build off this one. Let's take Fournette out and throw in Julio real quick.
Of course. All right, I'm taking Fehoko out. Do you like these other guys here?
This is exactly what you were saying. Keeping CD Lamb in there and rotating him out for Mike Evans. So that's all that it is.
Yeah, and then you can get Buccaneers defense. You can get
everything.
Both kickers. I think in this situation, the kickers are going to be a little bit more important than the game we did for Thursday night. I think I'm gonna, and now that I'm seeing the builds, I think I'm gonna have a little bit more kickers than I did last night, simply because there's a huge gap between the kickers and everybody else, and I feel a little bit more comfortable getting at least 7 or 8 points out of these kickers pretty much in every game. So Ellie, let's talk about some last thoughts here. What did you think about now that we've built together? What jumped out to you? Like, what kind of roster builds are you going to be targeting for Sunday night?
So, like we saw on Thursday, the Opto was a 3-3 when we were just building, right? This one, it feels like the pricing is set up that you're kind of forced to play at 3-3. So
yeah,
don't be hesitant to hold back a little bit and run weird stacks, 4-2, 1-5, 2-4, whatever it is. I know that's pretty much my same advice every show, but we're consistently seeing that's what's winning. So that's where I'm at, man. I'm going to be heavy on 4-2 and 1-5 onslaughts. These are both great offenses. So, why not stack it up and run it back with one?
If you're going to be chalky at captain, I would think that the best way to avoid tons of dupes wouldn't just be simply to throw in a complete punt or some $200 guy or something, but focus on roster construction. Focus on 2 running backs from the same team. Focus on, a 1-5 with a chalky captain, a 2-4 with a chalky captain. Those kind of things can help you when you're dealing with a guy that's going to be 15% owned in the captain spot. And then jamming in a bunch of other popular guys in the flex. If the roster construction, just one player that might be completely different than everybody else, doesn't have to be a bad player. It just can be Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott in the same lineup, that kind of thing. And I think we're gonna have to do a lot of that for this game, for sure. So, what is your prediction for this game, Ellie? And what is your one low-owned one low-owned player that you think can score a touchdown in this game?
Prediction, I got I'm gonna go Dallas. I think it's 24 or 23. And then low-owned guy that I think can score. I'm gonna have to go with Kevin Rudolph, man.
Yeah. I hate to doubt Tom Brady, but I'm going to actually go with the Cowboys in this game. I'm going to go 30-24. I think the Cowboys can come out and play well. And just because the Bucs lose a game like this, that means absolutely nothing. We've seen Tom Brady get blown out before in the first few games. Doesn't mean anything at all. All right, and for me, actually, I don't know, man. I think I do tend to agree with you that Kyle Rudolph, but I also think that Brait, like one of these tight ends for the Bucs, I think will score, and I do think Schultz will score. I think we'll have multiple tight end touchdowns in this game.
And Noah Brown, don't forget about him.
Noah Brown, I hope so. This is first NFL touchdown coming on Sunday night. Thanks, guys. We will be back for Monday Night Football. I don't even know what that game. Oh yeah, it's the Russ revenge game, right?
Yeah.
In Seattle against Geno Smith. That's going to be a fun show to do. See you guys later.